Welcome everyone to Real Talk. I am Joel, and I am so happy to be back here talking to you guys about movies, about all the greatness that is going on in the cinematic world. When you know that there's news going around, it's a good time to be alive, and this week with movies, it leaves us no different. I understand that it's been a while since I posted a good group of videos and a series or something to that stature, but I'm here and I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk about movies. My hair keeps messing up, but that's okay because it doesn't matter. When you go to movies, it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters all about the movie as I'm messing with my hair. What am I doing? All right, but we got a lot to talk about, as you can see down in your left side of the screen. Left, right, left, right. Yeah, left side of the screen. We have a lot of news to talk about this week. DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, a lot to talk about. And when you think about it, I want to do this as quickly as I can because I think that the best way to get out news information is to do it in a brief way and let the audiences kind of theorize and sprout around with a little bit of their theories. And that's what I'm doing. When I give you guys this news, I'm going to give you my theories, my little opinions about it. And overall, it's all about you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all of this news happening. And to be regardless, there's a lot of news going on, so there is no shortage of news for this week. I'm going to try to do this every Friday, get you guys out a video to get you ready for the weekend. I know that there's a lot of movies that have already premiered. I'll try to get those reviews out. Tomorrow I'm going to be putting up a trailer, like a more in-depth trailer review of the Rogue One trailer because I feel like that deserves its own video. But everything else that I'm going to be talking about kind of is just a brief little nidbits of it and a lot of speculation, a lot of me rambling on. And if you like that, hey, came to the right place. So let's go on with the first bit of news. We're going to go off to, oh, by the way, before I move on, don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, let me know what you think of the video, and how about the series that I'm starting up, weekly news talk, kind of like Real Talk beforehand, but hey, it's something a little different. So if you want to skip ahead to some topics that you really don't care about, or you want to skim over to the other topics that you think are a little more important, annotations will be right there, and you can click on to where I start talking about each topic. So without further ado, shut up, Joel. Let's talk some news. All right. So first up, we have DCEU's. Yeah, their little cinematic universe going on. Rough patch is going on, but we have some new stuff coming over this week. When you think about it, it's kind of not a big deal, but at the same time, it is a big deal to a lot of comic book fans. So I'm going to go ahead and read off this little bit of news before I give my little intake on the bit of news. So, the DCEU Mira appearance will be quite faithful to her comic book counterpart, retaining the green costume, crown and red hair, etc. It also looks like she'll be having the same water manipulative powers. If you want to see the full image, head over to IGN, which posted a still of Amber Heard as Mira on location during Justice League's principal photography. It is hard to tell exactly where, although production did move on from London to Iceland, so perhaps she's hanging out on the Icelandic coast. So, you've seen the picture. I just put it on your screen right now. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of the digest, because when you look at this picture and you compare it to Aquaman, it's kind of polarizing, because I've seen different opinions of different looks of her comic book, comparisons to the modern day look of Dan Snyder, not Dan Snyder, but of Zack Snyder, what he's trying to do out in the in these movies. But I'm just a little speculative. I mean, I'm a little worried because when you see the movies that have come out for DC in the past, the costumes have looked very gloomy. They've looked kind of toned down, and the colors kind of drained away. And you see this picture, it's really green, but at the same time, they try to tone down the colors as well. Of course, this picture doesn't do the movie justice because there's a lot of color grading, a lot of shading, a lot of different lighting stuff that they do for the character to make it look a little different. Obviously, there's visual effects, but when you look at the ground base of this picture, I really do think that it's a good picture. I think that the picture does a great job delivering the faith that the comic book character deserves, because she's a very powerful woman. She has her own superpowers as well. She's a queen. She's married to Aquaman, so there's a huge deal of that going on. And I think whenever you cast somebody like Amber Heard, you really want draw a little bit of that sex appeal, which, you know what, it's important. It's important to the movie because when you want to bring something, you want to bring somebody that's powerful as a character. There's a lot of things that go into it, not just in females but in males. A lot of characters that are powerful in movies as males are they look good, they're smart, they're strong, everything going to that nature. And Mira's character has to reflect that off of her costume as well. And I think that that does a great job in doing that because when you think about the whole landscape of DC, there's these big superheroes, these monsters that are just going to do huge damage, and you either need to have a good armor or you just need to be strong as crap. And one case that I could think of is Superman. His suit is very thin. His suit's kind of just packed in together, just kind of like, just kind of like a tight suit. But it's got real kryptonite armor. It's told in the narrative that it explains that, although it's a very thin layer of clothing, it's stronger than metal, stronger than a lot of different things. So they'll probably do that with Mira's clothing as well. I wouldn't be surprised. Marvel's done it with a little bit of their armor as well. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a good image? Do you think that she looks fine? Do you think that she looks like she needs something else? Maybe she needs more armor. Maybe she needs less armor. Just let me know in the comments below. Very interesting topic. I wanted to talk about that very briefly. Let's move on to The Lion King. Deadline is reporting that Jeff Nathanson will pen The Lion King script, joining director Jon Favreau as part of the creative team. It is worth noting that Jeff Nathanson wrote for films such as Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, Rush Hour 3, and Tower Heist, and including the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales. The Lion King won't be live action in a technical sense, much like the Jungle Book movie earlier this year, which was also directed by Jon Favreau. The movie will use incredible technology to make the animals look realistic as possible. But this time there won't be a human actor anchoring the shoot in reality. That said, if the Jungle Book's box office draws any indication, that may not stop The Lion King from being a huge money earner. Its animated predecessor certainly did well for the financing back in 1994, drawing in nearly $970 million worldwide. I don't know if that's adjusted in inflation or if that's the actual number that they got. Either way, it's a massive number for an animated movie. It took, 20 years for another movie to break it, Frozen. So it was a huge deal. This is a huge franchise, not just because of it's a Disney movie, but because of how well it integrates animals and how well it integrates animation. Like, the movie looks beautiful. If you ever seen the original Lion King in 1994, the animation is beautiful. The music, the score is just breathtaking. And the Broadway perfectly reflects off that. In my opinion, a live-action Lion King would be tough to do with just costuming and real live-action actors. You have to integrate CGI. You just have to, because if you don't do that, you'll fall short of the realistic aspect that the Jungle Book had. And Jon Favreau is a fantastic director. He knows how to get a visual, he knows how to get illustrations and visuals onto a movie screen. And that's the big thing about directors, because it's one thing to write a very good script and to read off of the good script. It's another thing to translate it into the movie and using good cinematography, costuming, stage designs, everything. And to be honest, the way CGI is catching up to live action nowadays, it's no surprise to me that they're using CGI. What it's a bigger surprise is that there are absolutely no human characters in this, opposite to Jungle Book. And like the article said by Cinema Blend, as all these articles are, the article stated, that didn't affect the Jungle Book. And to me, it won't affect The Lion King either, because The Lion King is an even bigger franchise, it's an even bigger movie. The Jungle Book was more, obviously it's an older movie, and Disney wasn't as big as it is even back in 1994, especially with the reputation that it had for animation. But when you look at that, and you compare the two different movies, the Jungle Book, the original one, and The Lion King, the original one, there's no comparison. The Lion King draws in more money worldwide. It has a higher reputation of being translated into a Broadway because of its music, its story, simplistic yet very relatable, but not like too kiddish. As an adult, you can go back and watch The Lion King and understand it and not feel like you're watching a movie for kids. It's a family movie and it works out very well. The Jungle Book kind of did the same thing, except that they went a little darker, obviously, because it's supposed to look more live action. And when you see actual lions and panthers and gorillas out in the real world, it's not so peaceful. So the movie has to reflect that. As for The Lion King, you got lions. You got angry-looking lions, and it's going to be so interesting because The Jungle Book was fantastic and they could have gotten away with it because Mowgli, the main character, was a human. So you could reflect all the CGI stuff to that. But now with this movie, you're just reflecting CGI to CGI to CGI. You have so much control of what emotion should be displayed. And with Jon Favreau, I think that he's such a brilliant director. He can get away with that kind of thing. He can get away with not bouncing off real characters to real characters. And with how screen capture is going on, obviously we're not going to see, characters walking around like lions and saying their lines, on set with the CGI gear on. But I don't know. But let me know what you guys think, because I think this is a good idea. I think that Jon Favreau knows exactly what he's getting himself into. Ever since I saw his movie with the Iron Man, the original Iron Man in 2008, I went back and watched a lot of his other films, and I just loved them. And The Jungle Book was just another great film by Jon Favreau. So I have a lot of faith into this movie. As for the writing, let's talk about the writing. Jeff Nathanson. The only movie I seen him write that he wrote for was Rush Hour 3. And while Rush Hour 3 wasn't much of a complex storytelling, it did have a lot of funny moments. And I think that with a movie like The Lion King, you have to put in a little more life into it, because although Jungle Book was very good, I do think that it was missing a little bit of the humor, a little bit of the magic that was in the first one. Doesn't mean it was a bad movie. It was great. And as for The Lion King, it's even brighter colors, brighter everything. So, to bring in a writer like this, you have to integrate a little more comedy into it. And I think he will. I really think that he will. And he's got, apparently, he's good experience with Pirates of the Caribbean. That movie's, I think, in post-production, and it's nearly coming out to the movies next year. So maybe Jon Favreau heard about the news and how funny it was or how good it was, so maybe he brought him in. Because Jon Favreau wouldn't just pick out a random writer to do just generic writing. He would pick a writer that would really reflect off what he's trying to illustrate. Jon Favreau is very visual. A director is very visual, so the writer should help reflect what the director wants to see into text. That way, everybody else can see it. So let me know what you guys think. I think that it's great news. I think that there's no doubt in my mind that the direction Disney is going with these live action movies, they're getting better. They are getting better. So maybe one day, even with the Beauty and the Beast movie come out next year, maybe that one's going to get close to the original. I wouldn't say that so far yet, because Beauty and the Beast 1992 was my favorite Disney movie, animated movie of all time. So I'm very interested to see what they do with that and with The Lion King. So let's move on. We're staying in the world of Disney, kinda. We're jumping off to Marvel. In this article by Cinema Blend again, we have some speculation on what the Kevin Feige wants to see in the direction of Captain Marvel. Let me go ahead and read off, and we'll see where we go. So, admitting that he originally believed that Captain Marvel director announcement could happen during the summer, Kevin Feige told IGN that it's important the story is more cemented before they hire someone to direct it. He said, "We're trying to get a little more of the story set before we bring in a filmmaker on, so we can talk about the story with the filmmaker before we bring him in, or bring them on." Despite the delay in finding director, Kevin Feige assured fans that the Captain Marvel creative team is taking steps to make sure that, just like with other movies, it stands out from the pack, especially in terms of voice, as he will put out. With all of our movies, we want them to be different. We want them to find new voices. I think the fun thing is we're meeting with so many great directors that will bring in one of them onto Captain Marvel, but we'll have future things to come for the others. Some candidates during the summer reported were to be Lorraine Scarfera, I'm going to butcher these names, Lorraine Scarfera, Nikki Caro, Leslie Linka Glader, and Rebecca Thomas. However, it is unclear if they are still in the running to direct the superhero film. I think this is not a case for them trying to find a female director to do the project. I don't even think it's an idea where they're trying to find a good director. I think they're trying to find a director that won't cause them problems like Edgar Wright caused, or problems that that the Fox had to go through with Fantastic Four and Josh Trank. They're trying to find a director that, although has a good vision, understands the story, they also want somebody that's kind of well aware of the style Marvel does. And I think Disney has done, or not Disney, Marvel Studios has done a good job in keeping their tone with all of their movies. Now, is that good for movies in general? Maybe not. I find this problem going on Marvel for years and years. It hasn't affected the movie for me, because it's more of a visual aesthetic look than a story. Because I think that all the stories, while including some of the same plot lines, some of the same type of characters, I think that they're entertaining enough and visually satisfying enough to get through it. I found the case with Age of Ultron. That was the first case where I was really getting that Marvel fatigue of seeing the same game, the same thing that they've been doing for years and years with all these Marvel movies. And I thought that the Avengers was a special occasion and deserved to be different than the other Marvel movies because it was a gathering of a team. And we didn't get that. We still got a weak villain. We still got a storyline that was done before in the past, a doomsday device, large hordes of characters attacking our heroes. I just don't like that aspect of a movie. I thought that it was just so generic. I thought that it wasn't satisfying. The first time I saw the movie, I was like, okay, cool, I like this. Second time I watched the movie, I was just like, all right, how much longer is this movie? This is going by so long. Because the cracks start to show. Whenever you watch the first Avengers, it feels so new, it feels so fresh because it's the first time you've seen this happen. But then you go and watch Age of Ultron, you're like, I've already seen this like 3 years ago 2 years ago with Marvel. You're going through the same game over and over again. So I think Marvel, they have to be aware and not hurt their product while they're still going because, believe it or not, there is still fatigue. Even with successful movies like A Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, even with this year with the Civil War, very entertaining movie. I loved it. It was different too. Don't get me wrong. It was a little bit more. It was a lot more different than some of the Avengers movies. In fact, I thought this was a better Avengers movie than Age of Ultron. But Marvel has to be aware of the universe they're creating, and Kevin Feige said here he wants the movie to have its own voice. He didn't say he wanted the movie to have its own style. He said a voice, not style. Voice meaning, I think, the way it's scripted, the way its dialogue is expressed. Maybe that's what he's talking about. I'm not reading too much into this. This is your guys' job. But I don't know. I think that Marvel has to be very careful with superhero fatigue because everybody's trying to do what they're doing. The whole expanded universe, the cinematic universe craze and bandwagon has gone on for years and years and years. It's like the new Western. I'm getting fatigued, man. I'm getting fatigued. And the best way to fix this is to really put out such a different type of movie, even if the reviews aren't as great, even if the box office numbers don't reflect the quality. Make something unique. Make something like a Watchmen or a 300. And now I'm going off to DC a little bit. DC's movies are not great, but they are so unique looking. They are so visually different than everything else that Marvel is doing. When I watch Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, sure, the colors and the tones are still brought down, but there is so much more visual differences between those two movies than Guardians of the Galaxy and Age of Ultron. Those two movies look the same as far as color, cinematography, everything. To me, it seems so generic, both ends of it, and it's disappointing. It's really disappointing because Age of Ultron, I really loved Age of Ultron when I first saw the trailer. I thought, wow, we finally get a new villain, so maybe he'll put some new life into this franchise. Nope. Same plot line, same idea. I'm going to destroy the Earth, blah, blah, blah. Been there, done that. Marvel has got to do something new. They've got to do something fresh to show everybody else, hey, we're going to do something really different. And you know what? I think Marvel is going to do that. Give credit where credit is due. They're going to do that with the Doctor Strange movie. Because this is a far deeper movie than I think Marvel's ever done. Visually compelling, a lot more visually different than any other Marvel movie. So Marvel, Maybe they've listened and they finally changed up the bit. But Captain Marvel has got to do the same thing. Expand your universe. Expand it. Not just with movies, with tone. Alright, so let's move on. We're still in Disney. We have Ewan McGregor. Yes, Ewan McGregor. Not Ewan McDonald. Ewan McGregor. Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi of the prequels. Gosh. He was like literally one of the only best parts of the movie, and even his character wasn't that great. But Ewan McGregor is interested in seeing more of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, the actor has previously spoken about willingness to return to the role that he and Sir Alec Guinness share, and McGregor thinks that now would be just about the perfect time to do it. He said, "I've always thought there was a story to tell between my last one and Alec Guinness's first one. It would be very fun to film the story now that I'm older. I'll be the right age. I'm 45. Alec Guinness was what, 60? I could do two of them." At the end of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, we are left with the character on Tatooine, watching over the infant Luke Skywalker, and is basically just hiding from the growing Empire. Thus, it leaves the character with a lot of time gap to fill. So, wow. I really want to see one. I really do. Not because I think Obi-Wan's character is... Not just because Obi-Wan's character is so deep and so... there's just so much to explore. But because Ewan McGregor deserves a good Star Wars movie. He hasn't had one ever. He hasn't had a good Star Wars movie. He's had good showcases in... I think he did make a return in Star Wars Clone Wars and Rebels. I think he was in Rebels. I'm not too sure. But he deserves a good movie. From beginning to end, a good quality movie. And Ewan McGregor is a fantastic actor. He knows how to deliver emotion. He knows how to be the sympathetic but yet very controlling. And he knows how to do so much as an actor. And whenever he was casted in the movie The Phantom Menace as Obi-Wan Kenobi, heads were so excited. Heads weren't rolling, but people were so excited to see Ewan McGregor play a young Alec Guinness because he fits the role so well in terms of voice, in terms of line deliverance, some facial aesthetics as well. And when you go back and watch the prequels, I skip to his scenes. I really do, because there's potential, and the potential isn't lost because of Ewan McGregor. No, that's not the problem. The potential is lost in the writing and the direction, not Ewan McGregor. We've seen him in other movies, and he's fantastic. So Ewan McGregor's character of Obi-Wan Kenobi deserves a good movie. And, well, he has good movies, but I mean Ewan McGregor's version. And he's 45. He says that he's in the perfect age. The time gap between him and Alec Guinness is great right now. He's right in the middle between that point of Alec Guinness and him in the Phantom Menace. Which I don't really think so, because the Phantom Menace came out 17 years ago. So there's a little time. His math is a little off, but I understand what he meant. And he's still young enough to do physical roles. He's still young enough to do his own action. Tom Cruise, I mean, look at this guy. But I think that Ewan McGregor definitely has potential to do that. I really want to see him in an isolation type of role that we've never seen from Obi-Wan Kenobi before in a movie. We've always seen him bounce off other characters and give characters direction of where to go next. We've seen him become the sorcerer master type of role. We've seen him become kind of the step back person and the fatherly figure. I want to see him as like a stranded Jedi that's losing a bit of his faith, but at the same time growing in it. If you've ever heard of the movie The Last Days in the Desert with Ewan McGregor as Jesus, I think that if you've seen a little bit of that trailer, I'm not talking in terms of the story of the movie or how good the movie is. I think that Ewan McGregor can pull off the isolation role very well. And I think that if he's put out in this role, he could fight visual representation of his biggest fears. So maybe we can even get like fights between him and Boba Fett, Anakin Skywalker, just his inner demons of how he's just doubting himself. And I think that would be a great direction to go with Obi-Wan's character, because we've seen him fight other people and be awesome. I want to see him fight himself. I really want to see him fight his own inner demons, because I know Obi-Wan has inner demons, and especially with how much he's been through. He's lost friends, He's lost, masters and apprentices. So it's a huge deal. I really think this is the best way to go with Alec Guinness, not Alec Guinness's, but Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. But let me know what you think about that, guys. Maybe we should go somewhere else. Maybe he should be traveling. Maybe he shouldn't. Let me know in the comments below. So let's go freely into discussion of the Rogue One trailer. Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones. We finally see some depth to her. We finally see some origin story to her about her father, about a little bit of her motivation to do this crazy mission of stealing the Death Star plans, which is the mission of the movie, the plot of the movie. I think that was the best part of the trailer, not the Darth Vader stuff, because I think that Darth Vader, we love him automatically, so we'll just go crazy and fanboy when we see him on the screen anyway. But Jyn Erso's character needs to work. And I think that this trailer helped make her character grow, but it made her character work a little bit better because she has motivation. She has an origin story that we can finally relate to. She's not locked in such big mystery like Rey's character. Jyn Erso has clear motivation. She's going to have one in this movie, and it's going to be a lot easier to follow her story since especially this is an anthology film, so it's going to be locked and packed in its little box. There's not going to be a sequel to it. I mean, there might be, but there's not going to be like a sequel to this or a prequel to this. It's locked in, people. It's a locked in story, so you just follow through this one single story and you're good. You don't got to see another movie to understand it. Well, you might need to see like episode 3 and 4, but I don't know. It's up to you guys. But I think that the trailer did a great job in terms of cinematography. My goodness, this movie looks so cool and so unique. I love the fact that they filmed in kind of an islandy looking environment because we've never seen Star Wars in that kind of place before in the big screen like that. It looks great with the AT-ATs just going across the beach, shooting down things, and the space battles look so breathtaking. It's crazy because we're seeing the Star Wars original trilogy universe in the big screen now. You know, The Force Awakens was in the future, but we never saw the original TIE fighters, the original stormtroopers, the original AT-ATs doing their thing in modern 21st century film, and now digital film, and now we do, and it looks breathtaking. It looks fantastic, and I'm so excited to see the movie. Hopefully, at this point, we don't hear anything else or see anything else for Darth Vader because I think that's a surprise worth saving. You know, his first line. His first time we see him on the screen, I think that James Earl Jones, I can't wait to hear his voice again, because James Earl Jones, to me, is Darth Vader. There's nobody else that can do his voice as Darth Vader. As far as the other characters in the movie, I think that we didn't get enough to see of the supporting characters, or even the villain a bit, but we saw some origin story of the villain, and I think that's important, because whenever we see the origins of the Death Star, I really want to see the politics of it. I really want to see the conflicts. We saw a little bit of it in A New Hope whenever Darth Vader was talking to one of the generals, and he was talking about how he was scared of the device and he kind of didn't have faith in it. Maybe we'll see more of that in this movie, and I want to see the little cracks within the Empire that really make it corrupt, that really make it kind of like a sleazy, not so great environment. And I'm a huge Empire fan, so I love the Galactic Empire in terms of like its place in the Star Wars universe. I get so giddy with AT-ATs and stormtroopers and TIE fighters, but that's a kid in me. But I do want to see the cracks in the walls. I do want to see how the Star Wars universe kind of just expands a bit of the Empire, little cracks in the wall, and I think it's important to see that. So let me know what you guys thought of the trailer. There's a lot to talk about for the future of Star Wars, but I think that this trailer does a lot to leave you open-ended and going into the theater excited. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the trailer. Let me know what you think of Rogue One, the poster. Let me know what you guys think of the entire cinematic universe of Star Wars in the comments below. And next week I will come back with you guys for another video. So until then, or actually tomorrow I'm coming up with a new video. So until then, this has been Joel from Real Talk. Thanks for watching.